The morning after our wedding, sunlight barely seeped through the curtains when she slid a piece of paper across the breakfast table. "Read this," she said, sipping her coffee like she was signing off on a merger. The paper was titled Rules. Bullet points, neat and typed, like a contract. No female friends. All finances shared. Major decisions required her approval. Family visits supervised. No arguments in front of her parents. I remember the look she gave me then. Smug, expectant, as if waiting for applause. I said nothing. I folded the list once. Twice, slipped it into my wallet. She smiled, assuming my silence meant surrender. It wasn't surrender. It was reconnaissance. 3 days later, her father stormed into our house, red-faced, voice cracking. "Do you realize what you just cost this family?" he shouted. She froze. Her coffee cup slipped, shattering on the tile. I didn't move. I simply met his gaze calmly. "Yes, I do," I said. I met her at a charity gala, a place where everyone pretends they're better than they are. She was magnetic, confident, beautiful in that way power always is. Her father ran a real estate empire. She was his heir. I wasn't poor, just middle class, with ambition sharp enough to carve through marble. I ran my own design firm. We met over a proposal. Her family wanted to modernize one of their properties. She liked that I spoke to her as an equal. I liked that she seemed to believe in me. For a while, she did. She called me steady, loyal, the only man who didn't need her money. But people like her mistake stability for weakness. By the time we got engaged, her father's tone shifted from polite to proprietary. "You'll be joining our family," he said, as if it were a promotion. The fool, thought marriage was partnership. It wasn't. It was assimilation. It started small. The first week after the wedding, she forgot to transfer half the payment for our joint property. Then she accidentally replaced the firm's name on a client contract with her family companies. When I confronted her, she smiled. "Relax. It's all the same. We're married now." That was the moment I knew I wasn't her husband. I was her acquisition. Later that night, I found the original version of her rules document in our printer's memory. The file name, Prenup Addendum _V3. Addendum, not list. Addendum. Her father's initials in the metadata. The rules weren't hers. They were his, a leash disguised as marital compromise. I didn't confront her. I observed. Every call she took in the study. Every bank transfer masquerading as home expenses. Every dinner where her father suggested I work under him. By the second week, I had enough evidence to map the full design. They wanted control of my company, a merger cloaked in marriage. So I smiled, agreed, and quietly built my counteroffer. Rule 1 in war. Never fight on your enemy's terrain. Move 1. I created a new holding company, Grayite Design Holdings, LLC, under my cousin's name, with me as a silent partner. Move 2. I transferred all intellectual property, blueprints, client lists, trademarks, to Grayite. On paper, my original company looked empty. Move 3. I agreed to the joint financial accounts she wanted, but linked it to a monitoring system logging every transaction. Every move she made, I tracked, documented, time-stamped. Move 4. I hired a forensic accountant through a lawyer who owed me a favor. Within days, he uncovered her father's shell companies, 5 of them, funneling money offshore. Move 5. I approached her father's biggest investor, a rival developer who'd once lost a project to underhanded tactics. I offered him confidential documents, proof of misappropriation, and the chance to reclaim every stolen project. All I asked, patience. The trap was set. The week before her father's meltdown, she hosted a dinner party, our first as newlyweds. I played the devoted husband. Laughs, toasts, even a cheek kiss when she boasted about taking over household finances. She didn't notice a sealed envelope I slipped under the door that night. Notice of investigation. The following morning, while she was at brunch with her mother, I met Mr. Keller, her father's rival. Older, quieter, with the look of a man waiting for an opening. I handed him the files. This is going to burn him, he said. By the time I returned home, her father's empire was already cracking. Regulators were digging into offshore transfers, asset laundering, shell properties. I waited. 3 days later, it happened. The man who'd once toasted our engagement, "Welcome to the family, son," stood in our living room, pale, shaking, sweating through his suit. He slammed papers on the counter. "Do you realize what you just cost this family?" She blinked, confused. "What's going on?" He turned to her, voice cracking. "Our accounts are frozen. Keller's people leaked everything. The emails, the transfers, everything." Her eyes darted to me. I leaned back, calm, almost bored. "Yes, I did." Silence. Her father's face twisted in disbelief, rage, fear. "You think this won't come back to you?" he spat. I smiled. "It can't. I divested months ago. Everything tied to your name stayed with you. Your rules ensured that." She whispered, "What do you mean?" I turned to her, voice low, precise. "When you made me sign that list, forced me into a joint account, shared everything, you gave me separation, not control. Everything that was mine, I removed from reach. Everything tied to you and your father's companies is now under investigation." Her father's hands trembled. "You set us up," he said, almost in awe. I didn't answer. At that moment, his phone buzzed. Another notification. Another frozen account. The empire was collapsing in real time. Notice of divorce intent. No surprise. She tried to claim emotional manipulation. Her lawyers demanded compensation. Mine responded with a single-page statement. All assets transferred voluntarily under mutual consent. Supporting evidence enclosed. She withdrew the claim before the first hearing. Her father's empire fractured. Half his assets seized. The rest liquidated to pay settlements. Keller acquired most of it. Poetic justice. As for me, I rebuilt quietly. Grayite grew threefold in a year. Clients who once belonged to her father called me directly. I didn't gloat. Real revenge doesn't need an audience. Sometimes I take out that folded list from my wallet, the one she gave me after our wedding. Yellowed, crease at the edges. I read the first line. No arguments in front of my parents. I smile, because the last time her father and I were in a room together, there was nothing left to argue about. She gave me rules. I gave her consequences.